So Pakistan is witnessing growing unrest. The police has clashed with thousands of protesters who are supporting the Palestinians. And at least 5 people are said to be dead so far in Pakistan in these protests, and dozens more have sustained some serious injuries. Now, the march was organized by the political party Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, or the TLP, which said in a statement that the casualty figure was pretty high amongst the supporters. The videos released by TLP on Monday showed several vehicles burning, including a truck that was carrying party officials who were leading what they've called the Long March, which started in eastern Pakistan on Friday, with the demonstrators planning to march from Lahore towards the capital city of Islamabad. Now, they are determined to stage a rally outside the American embassy in Islamabad. The law enforcement, including the Pakistani Rangers and large contingents of police from 5 districts, was sent to Muridke, and they surrounded the TLP protest camp. The TLP chief, Hafiz Hussain Rizvi, has accused the authorities of resorting to using lethal weapons against unarmed demonstrators, but has urged the supporters to stay calm. Now, all this while, the Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has been in Egypt saluting and praising the American President Donald Trump to his face. Now, taking the podium, Nawaz Sharif said that peace has been achieved in West Asia because of what he calls the untiring and relentless efforts of Donald Trump. He also reiterated that Pakistan had nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize and nothing less for his contributions in stopping the war between India and Pakistan, and also for mediating a ceasefire, a claim which New Delhi has outrightly rejected.
And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize, because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize, because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East.
All right, so that is what Nawaz Sharif had to say about Donald Trump, literally praising him to his face. And after his address, the former Minister of Finance of Pakistan and the PTI leader, Hamad Azhar, released what he labelled as a clarification from the Pakistanis, replying to taunts aimed at Pakistanis over their choice of leaders and their behaviour on the international fora. Azhar said that they did not elect the puppet lot. He also asserted that in the 2024 election, Pakistan had given Imran Khan's party a landslide victory, but the results were manipulated to put into power what he described as 2 defeated and unpopular dynasties. In a post on social media, he highlighted as to what he called the comical scenes and also the disgusting sycophancy that was on display in front of the world. And this has come just days after the Pakistani Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, along with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, met Donald Trump at the White House. A picture from the meeting from last week has surfaced. In the picture, Asim Munir could be seen personally presenting a box of what appeared to be rare earth mineral samples to Donald Trump, as Nawaz Sharif smiled on in the background. Now, referring to the picture in Pakistan's parliament, Senator Amal Wali Khan has accused Asim Munir of behaving more like a salesman, while Nawaz Sharif, he said, looked like a manager watching the drama unfold. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got retired Captain Alok Bansal, who is also the Director of India Foundation and Executive Director of South Asian Institute for Strategic Affairs. Captain Bansal, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on this broadcast. We'll talk a bit about Nawaz Sharif and his effusive praise for Donald Trump, but I want you to weigh in on these protests by this organization, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, where at least a dozen people reportedly have been killed because they say they want to go and protest in front of the US embassy. They're accusing the Nawaz Sharif government of being a sellout for endorsing Donald Trump's peace plan for the Gaza Strip. Your reaction to that?
See, firstly, we need to be very clear that there are huge turbulence inside Pakistan. Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, which is actually a Barelvi Sunni organization and has a lot of mass followings, especially in Punjab and Sindh, has been opposing this Gaza peace accord, which they perceive as a complete sellout of Arab interests, and they wanted to protest in front of US embassy. And they also protested the fact that initially the Pakistani government supported it without even knowing what the terms and conditions of the agreement was. So they have been protesting. Their protest march has been stopped, stalled, and there have been huge violence because the security forces have cracked down on it. And this is primarily because at this point of time, both Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the real power behind the regime, that is Field Marshal Asim Munir, both are actually kowtowing to the US and trying to get US to on their side. And this actually reminds me of an incident almost 54, 55 years back. In 1971, when Bangladesh was burning, Yahya Khan was trying to connect US to China. And he thought his name would go down into history books as somebody who has achieved a great international feat. Now, similarly, you saw what Shehbaz Sharif is saying. He is trying to recommend Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for stopping so-called India-Pakistan war and now Gaza. So at this point of time, he's actually driven by the fact that he'll be in the good books of Donald Trump. What happens in Pakistan, he thinks is a minor issue. Because at this point of time, not only is TLP's protests being stopped, you see there has been a conflict with Afghanistan where Afghan troops actually targeted Pakistani posts on the border and resulting in large number of deaths of Pakistani security personnel. TTP and Baloch nationalist forces have been targeting Pakistan. So there is turmoil within Pakistan. The opposition is protesting.
Right.
The most popular leader continues to be incarcerated. And at this point of time, the Prime Minister is more concerned to be in Sharm el-Sheikh trying to win accolades from President Donald Trump.
You know, a lot of people have looked at that short speech that Shehbaz Sharif gave at Sharm el-Sheikh and they've described it as the perfect example of sycophancy for a peace plan about which a lot of question marks have been raised. What exactly do you think Shehbaz Sharif is trying to gain out of Donald Trump by being so effusive in his praise to his face?
See, we need to understand there are two things. One is, of course, Pakistan thinks that if US becomes benevolent, their economy could transform because US virtually controls IMF and World Bank. And Pakistan's economy is totally dependent on IMF loans, and the midterm review was going on. So it makes a huge impact because if IMF pulls out its funds, you'll find that the foreign exchange reserves gets immediately depleted because all other countries which take a cue from IMF also pull out their funds. Countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. will immediately pull out funds, and that will make Pakistan go bust. So they think that US has to be kept in
right.
books. The second fact which we need to understand is that the Pakistani elite, almost all their children live in US or in Western countries. And they know that US, by controlling the visa regime, can prevent their entry or exit into their country. Like even Shehbaz Sharif's, some of the children are abroad. Nawaz Sharif's sons are abroad, some of them. So this is another factor why they want to be extra friendly to the United States, especially its president, who is known to be whimsical and governed by his personal choices and personal tastes.
Interesting. It remains to be seen as whether Shehbaz Sharif will paying some kind of a political price within Pakistan for the effusive praise that he's been lavishing on the American president there. Thank you very much indeed, retired Captain Alok Bansal, for joining us with that perspective. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.